Hey, what's going on, folks? We got the Parkside Merchant here, back again with another mail opening video. If you're new to this channel, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe. We've got all kinds of original content related to the vintage Yu-Gi-Oh market, which I think a lot of you are going to find pretty interesting. So I think without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive in. So for today's opening, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here. We got a couple of items that I think are mostly from TCG Player. And then I think I'm going to save this box for last. This is going to be a real treat for some of you. You're going to find that really interesting, what's going on in there. So basically, I think we'll maybe start with one of these bubble things because these look kind of interesting. First up, this one is from Hawaii. All right. I think there's two items here from Hawaii this time. So that's always exciting. Must be fun to be in Hawaii, especially if you're like working from home. It's like basically you chill at the beach all the time and enjoy nice weather. I live in a part of the country where it's not really that warm very often, so I'm always envious of people that live in states like Florida, Hawaii. Those are pretty cool places to live. So I don't actually remember, that's the other thing. There's some folks have been asking like, well, do you know what's in the stuff beforehand? It's like, some of them I do because, you buy certain things from, certain states or certain sellers and it's memorable, like you buy something from Australia or you buy something from, somebody in Hawaii as an example, right? I don't buy a lot of stuff from Hawaii. So, however, this particular thing, I know what's in, there's another box here that is from Hawaii. I know what's in that one. I don't remember what's in this. So it's going to be a surprise, right? So let's see. Very well packed. This was very, very safely packaged for a very large and long journey that this thing had from Hawaii to where I'm located. So it looks like it's going to be safe and sound. All right. Let's see here. All right. Almost there. Oh, okay. Some of you are going to get a real kick out of this. This is not Yu-Gi-Oh! This is allegedly mint condition. Some kind of a Topps, they did a series of these things. There's like one of Hillary Clinton, one of Obama, and then I think there's several of them for the Republican candidates as well. But I know nothing about baseball, folks, right? I know absolutely nothing about these cards for the most part. But I did see this, and it was on auction, and there was basically nobody bidding on it. So I was like, oh, well, I actually have a couple others that I purchased, and I'm going to try to get them graded. I couldn't find any of these graded, frankly. I did a pop report check for this particular card, and I didn't see anything. So I don't know if that means maybe PSA doesn't grade these, but I think they do because I saw one that was graded for Obama. So I'm going to try to get these graded and see what happens, basically. So. Kind of fun, a bit of an adjacency to the Yu-Gi-Oh space, but hopefully something that some of you will get a kick out of. And it's, there's probably collectors out there, as I said, there is a market supposedly, I think, for some of the stuff, for Obama, for Hillary, and for other, major candidates. If you check on eBay, there are people that grade that stuff. So I assume there's also people that buy it or collect it. So in any case, let's move on to one of the envelopes next. This one's from California. This is probably a TCG Player item here. Oh, there we go. Jigen Bakudon, also known as the Bakudon Detonator, as I believe is how Pegasus refers to it during the series. Fun card. Magic Ruler or Spell Ruler is generating a lot of buzz recently. These short prints are kind of fun. Cool card. I seem to remember it had kind of a fun effect during the series. I believe it was somewhat playable back in the day because I do remember using it in my, duels on the playground. So, yeah, cool card. First edition, short print. So, I don't know that we'll grade it, but kind of a fun thing to have. Okay, next up. This is another TCG Player item from what I can tell here. Sorry, I always try to not show the invoice that has all my address and all that stuff on it. So, or the packing slip, excuse me. There we go, some more Jigen Bakudons. I knew I ordered a bunch of these things a couple weeks ago. Some of them are just coming in now. There's been a lot of backlog in the postal networks, as folks know, so some of this stuff has taken quite a bit of time to get here. Okay, next up. Watch this be another set of Bakudon detonators. Just a huge buyout. Yeah, here it is, more Bakudon detonators. These are fun cards, though. I've been kind of, quiet about this, but I am working on some registry set stuff in the sidelines. These may or may not be part of some of those efforts. This envelope is empty. Oh, I already opened this. Okay, so let's move on to some of this heavier stuff. This is a heavy package here, guys, and there's going to be a lot of, I think, mixed opinions about what's in here. So I'd be interested once I get this thing opened up. I do know what's in here, I think. This thing came from Tennessee. I think there's going to be some mixed opinions about this. So I'll be interested to hear if you have comments or feedback or reactions to this one. This is going to be kind of an interesting purchase. Nice little, super tiny little packing slip there that somebody folded up. That's always good. These have been very nicely packed. While I'm opening this up, let's, that Bakudon detonator. What do folks think about the Jigen Bakudon? Folks like that card? Hate that card? Think it's silly? I mean, it is kind of a silly card, I guess. It only had 1 or 2 appearances in the series. And it did get reprinted a lot in the starter deck, and then it was in Spell Ruler, Magic Ruler, and then I think it might even have been printed a couple other times in some other sets. So, I don't know. It's a card that I like. I think it's fun. All right, so here we go. Before I open this up, let me just start with a little bit of context. Context. So, the booster pack tins are, those are like collector gold, right? You've got a lot of very big, iconic staple cards that got reprinted in the BPT booster pack tin. Very nice looking, right? Those versions are arguably, in some cases, nicer looking than some of the stuff that you would pull from, the packs from the original sets that stuff, came from, or the starter decks or whatever, right? There was, as a successor to the BPTs, you've got these collector tins. And I'll probably do a separate video on this topic just because it's kind of interesting, in my opinion. But somebody on eBay was selling, auctioning off like a full set, or a nearly full set of PSA 9, the face cards from these collector tins. And I already have the Insect Queen thing covered because I've got a lot of those. I do have several of those in PSA graded format. So it was the only card missing from this set of the 9s that this person was selling. So I was like, hey, this is a good pickup here. This is like, and I'll go through each of these here in a second, but basically my logic is, booster pack 10 BPT, that's getting really expensive. Unless you've got some serious dollars, you're not buying those 10s, and you're not buying PSA 9 or PSA 10 BPT, Blue Eyes White Dragons, right? Or the Red Eyes Black Dragon, or whatever some of those face cards are. Jinzo, as an example, right? There's some really expensive stuff that comes out of those BPTs. These cards, we'll go through each of these kind of one by one. The Total Defense Shogun, I think it was used like once in the series, so not a very popular card. I believe it was a Gozaburo Kaiba card. Some of you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think he used it one time, like in the demo, or maybe one of the Big Five used it, or somebody like in that whole Noah series, or the Noah arc in the narrative. So, or maybe I have that mistaken with the other one. There's another one in here that was like the one they used when they were like demonstrating the avatar capability for the technology that they had there on board that like submarine thing that Noah lived on. So Total Defense Shogun, that's kind of a cool one. Blade Knight, this card definitely got a lot more airtime in the series. I think Yugi might have used this a couple times during that season. The Command Knight, I think this is the one I was thinking about. This is a Gozaburo Kaiba card, I think. It was used like 1 or 2 times in the whole series. Definitely not a chase card, but you know, it's cool looking. It's definitely a cool looking card. And yeah, kind of fun. Here we go, Swift Gaia, the Fierce Knight. That's definitely a fun card. People remember that one for sure from the series. This one got a lot of airtime. Honestly, so did this guy here too, the obnoxious Celtic Guardian. So I don't know if you folks, I'd be interested to get some, feedback, reactions. Like, what do people think about the Collector's Tin, the CT, CT1, whatever they call it. This is the OG Collector's Tin. So after they were done with the BPTs, Booster Pack 10, they moved on to these Collector's Tins, CT. And now these were these were basically the successors to the Booster Pack 10s. So be interested to hear what you folks think about this. Do you think these cards are collectible? Do you like these cards? Or there is the Insect Queen as well that's part of this set. I have that separate, so I already had that one. Now I've completed my entire set of the PSA 9 collector's tins. Now it's time to move on to the PSA 10s. You're probably going to see some of those in the mail because I'm working my way through those. But my opinion, and we could do like a market watch style video about these things too. But once people kind of have their way with the Booster Pack 10, they're going to start moving on to these collector's tins probably. And some of the later ones, like there's the Rocket Warrior, and there's all sorts of stuff that comes out of the Panther Warrior, I think is another one. There's some pretty heavy hitting stuff in some of those collector tin cards. And if you have those in PSA 9, PSA 10, my firm belief is that there's going to be some value there. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. You got to give it some time, but people are getting priced out of those BPTs like crazy because it's a feeding frenzy over those things. And these are still pretty easy pickups if you like these cards, and I do. I happen to, and I'll do maybe another video about this, but I actually really liked the whole season 3 arc that they had, the whole Noah saga, the Gozaburo Kaiba stuff. I thought there was actually a really good story there with the Big Five and with some of the different characters and such. It was just a very interesting series for me. A lot of people kind of gave up on the show after Battle City. All this stuff, all these fun cards that I think were used quite a bit during that season do carry quite a bit of nostalgia for me as a collector. So I'm always very interested in these. All right, enough on that. Let's move on to the main course here from this mail opening. I know we're running a little bit long here. This is going to be kind of a longer video, but so be it. This is all cool stuff. This is another package from Hawaii. This actually might have been the same seller as the Joe Biden cards. So if you're watching this, appreciate the pickups. This was an even nicer pickup, in my opinion, than the Joe Biden card. And this was the best pickup, I think, of the entire video that we're going to go through. So let's get this opened up. I've hyped it up enough. Lots of hype, right? Some of you are going to be like, wow, all that hype for this? This is such a lame... No, nobody's going to say that. This is really cool, what's in this box, folks. Let's see how this was packed here. I think this is probably just going to open up once I slice here. Okay. This is so nice, folks. Honestly, I'm going to have to leave some really good feedback for this person. This is so well packed, it's not even funny. And if this is what it says it is, this was like one of the best pickups I've ever made, probably on eBay. So here's what this is, folks. This person had been auctioning off a massive lot. Oh my gosh, and they're all sleeved too. Wow. All right, this person's getting some ace level feedback, folks. All right, here's what this is, guys. This person was auctioning off a massive lot of Labyrinth of Nightmare first edition, mostly commons and some rares, and it was an auction. There were no bidders on this stuff for some reason. Nobody was going after it. And these things were like pack fresh. you could see they had all the foil packs that they had pulled these guys from. It was obvious, like if you looked at the pictures, you would notice like these were super minty in the way that they had been maintained and cared for. And, you know, as I said, I've been working on the sidelines on some registry set stuff. And if you're into that sort of thing, you know, yeah, the commons and the rares, you know, nobody likes to talk about those because they really are hard to do when it comes to PSA, right? It's like they're not really worth a ton, but you kind of need them if you're going to complete the registry set. So I'm not necessarily saying that I'm going all in or full ham on Labyrinth of Nightmare, but I'll tell you folks, the Labyrinth of Nightmare is generating a lot of buzz right now. This is where people are kind of moving next, it looks like, because the Metal Raiders stuff, LOB, and some of these others are starting to get pretty hard to do if you're trying to do a registry set. It's very, very expensive, prohibitively expensive, I think, for most people. So next in line is kind of like, you start looking at like, you know, the MRL, which is generating a lot of buzz, you know, Magic Ruler. You got the Spell Ruler stuff. And then you've got the Labyrinth of Nightmare. So I'm not going to go through all these here on the video. There's literally like probably, I don't know, 150 cards here. But there are some really good ones in here. You know, there were a couple of rares, I think. What this person must have done, frankly, is they bought a box, you know, or they had a box. They must have done the pack openings. And then, you know, they sent off maybe a couple of the real heavy hitters to PSA. And then they were like, well, I don't really want the rest of this stuff. I'm not super into it. And so they decided to auction it off. So excellent pickup here. I am deeply appreciative of this seller for both the Joe Biden card that I picked up from them, as well as this fantastic lot of these. I mean, look at these. Some of these look really good. These Labyrinth of Nightmare first edition commons and rares. So this is cool, folks. Gadget Soldier. Wow, this is one of my favorite cards. Well, I shouldn't say one of my favorites, but very nostalgic. I had a lot of these when I was a kid, and I played it a lot because it was a cool card. In any case, that's about all we have here for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to drop a like, a comment, subscribe if this sort of stuff interests you. As I've said previously, you know, if you're into the vintage Yu-Gi-Oh space, we've got a lot of original content, lots of pickups, lots of cool stuff that we're going to be going through here on the channel. So, you know, I do try to respond to a lot of the comments on the videos as well. So, you know, look forward to the discussion, the back and forth. I know I raised a couple of controversial points here probably in the video, so I'd be interested to hear some people's perspectives on this stuff as you're thinking about what I pulled, what we took out of the mail here, and, you know, what your thoughts are on these things. So that's all for now. Until next time, Parkside Merchant, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.